Although the Gothic genre is packed with timeless classics, recently there's been a real lack of stories that truly fit the category. Well, besides Twilight, I guess, that's pretty faithful. Even franchises that once resided in the Gothic, like Scooby-Doo, have abandoned their eerie, intense atmospheres for increasingly brighter colors. So that's why it's so surprising that Over the Garden Wall, a miniseries that aired on Cartoon Network of all places, is, in my mind, a perfect example of true Gothic fiction. Not content with merely emulating the surface-level characteristics of the genre, Over the Garden Wall uses the Gothic's origins and devices to fill the audience with unease and drive the story forward. So what makes something Gothic? It's easy enough to simplify the genre down to just ghosts and ghouls, but that's just one part of it. Gothic is really more of an overall atmosphere that fills you with an unconscious sense of overwhelming dread and anxiety. Think of ravens sitting on tombstones and abandoned mansions. Over the Garden Wall crafts this general vibe in a couple of different ways, most notably through its setting. The world of the unknown is shrouded in shadows, creating a constant sense of uneasiness and uncertainty, hence the name. I mean, there are even trees that look like screaming children. What are the odds of that, right? The framing of the forest feels oppressive. Some of the shots literally have black circles around them, as though the boys are slowly being boxed in and trapped by their environment. And on top of that, the gray color palette that is only occasionally broken up by orange subconsciously warns us that time is running out and winter is coming. Suddenly, this world feels vaguely dangerous, and you don't even really know why, because nothing scary has happened. Additionally, the scale of the landscape invokes another concept core to the Gothic, the sublime. Basically, the sheer size of some of these backgrounds, how the hills just go on forever into the distance, creates a sense of awe and subconscious horror. It just really makes you feel how large this strange world is and how insignificant our characters are by comparison. These factors work together to create an atmosphere of unease and dread that is quintessentially Gothic. The size of this world, coupled with the variety of madcap situations Wirt and Greg find themselves in, makes it feel like anything could happen next and anyone could be waiting around the corner. It also just adds a layer of hopelessness to the story, because the chances of the boys successfully navigating this insane world feel incredibly slim. And what makes Over the Garden Wall's use of the Gothic so impressive is that this hopelessness is actually very important to the story, but we'll get there in a minute. First, I want to go over how the series uses the uncanny, which is the feeling you get when things are just slightly off. You may not be able to pinpoint exactly what, and it may not even be particularly scary, but you know that things just aren't normal. Over the Garden Wall is the king of the uncanny, and in my opinion, it's really the key to their cozy Gothic vibe. Everywhere Wirt and Greg go, although they might not always be in any real danger, everything is just strange enough to make you feel very uneasy. Like, they go to an inn that seems normal enough, but everyone keeps asking Wirt what his role in life is. There's nothing really wrong about that, but it's strange that they're so obsessed with labels. You get the distinct sense that there's something else going on, and the whole situation in general is just too strange for comfort. Whether they're in a town of people in pumpkin costumes, or helping an old man look for ghosts in his own mansion, the setting and premise gives you this creepy feeling down your spine. I also appreciate how the show keeps you on your toes. Sometimes there's actually something dangerous going on, and sometimes they're just putting on a jamboree to raise money for an animal school. Another common feature of the Gothic is the use of liminal spaces, i.e. spots in between life and death, or in between sanity and madness. One quick example is how the autumn setting acts as the halfway point between summer, which is associated with life, and winter, which is associated with death. But the more obvious use is that the unknown itself is a kind of purgatory for the boys while they're drowning in a river. We don't really know whether this is all happening in their heads, whether it's actually real, or whether it's just the loveliest lie of all. Beyond creating a sense of mystery that continues even after you finish the show, it adds a constant sense of danger. Part of you can always tell that somehow, just like how winter is approaching, time is running out. While the unknown, of course, causes feelings of uncertainty, I know I'll wait for my analytical analysis award, the character of the Beast is the definitive idea of what a Gothic villain should be. Not only is he an imposing monster a la Frankenstein or Dracula, but he's constantly covered in shadows, acting as an embodiment of all the things that go bump in the night. All of the things that we as a society simply do not understand and therefore project our fears onto. We can't see him for what he truly is, so we assume the worst. Despite seeming to be an imposing force, he's actually incredibly frail, but covers for his own weakness by manipulating others and feeding on their despair and hopelessness. Man, you can practically hear the ghost of Edgar Allan Poe screaming in delight. Remember when I told you to remember that the unknown creates a sense of hopelessness in the audience? Well, that's very much an intentional choice by the creators. The show specifically uses all of these Gothic devices in order to drive us and the characters towards the brink of utter hopelessness, and therefore towards the Beast. We become so unsure of how Wirt and Greg can possibly get out of the unknown that suddenly the Beast feels inevitable. Even Greg can't withstand the Beast. The entire design of the show is one long trick to get us to this moment, where Wirt can either choose to give in to despair and hopelessness, or pick himself back up. And I love watching every autumn to see exactly what he does next.